Welcome back to Peer-Guided DBT Lessons, provided by DBT Skills Application, Peers Helping Peers. This week's lesson marked 1-3 in our Mindfulness module. We will be looking at How Skills, Part 1, One Mindfully. Please keep in mind that we're simply peers helping peers, working together to bring about more peaceful, constructive, and ultimately happier lives. In other words, a life worth living. So what are the how skills of mindfulness DBT skills? How do we practice mindfulness? What skills? John Kabat-Zinn, PhD, founding executive director of the Center for Mindfulness in Medicine, defines mindfulness as paying attention in a particular way, on purpose, in the present moment, and non-judgmentally. In other words, non-judgmentally, one mindfully, and effectively. In this lesson, we will be looking at one mindfully. So what exactly is one mindfully? One mindfully is the opposite of multitasking. The habit of multitasking is so much a part of our normal activities that we don't even notice that we're doing it most of the time. Most people tend to lean forward, looking into the future to try to stay ahead of where we are now and focusing on what we need to do next rather than paying attention to what we are doing in the present moment. While we sort our mail, we're thinking ahead to the phone call we need to make. While we're talking on the phone, we're going through our mail. Even when we go on vacation, we are busy thinking about where we will go and what we will do during our next vacation. The American Psychological Association, or APA, defines multitasking. Multitasking can take place when someone tries to perform two tasks simultaneously, switch from one task to another, or perform two or more tasks in rapid succession. For many years, psychology research has shown that people can only attend to one cognitive task at a time. The human brain is only capable of successfully conducting one mental activity at a time. If you can only be effectively thinking about one thing at a time, this means you can be talking or you can be typing. The brain can accomplish one mental task or the other, but not both at once. We may believe we are multitasking, but in actuality we are doing nothing more than switch tasking. The human brain is very adept at switching back and forth between tasks so quickly that we miss noticing the stop-start process. This is how we have been able to fool ourselves into thinking we are really doing two things at the same time. You can be talking, or you can be typing, but you cannot effectively do both at the same time. That start, stop, start process is hard on us. The human brain is an energy-craving organ, using much more energy than any other organ in the body. Our brains consume over 1/5 of our body's total energy supply, but can only use available energy because its neurons can't store extra reserves. Approximately 2/3 of the energy expenditure is used to help neurons or nerve cells fire or send signals. The remaining third is used for cell health maintenance or housekeeping. The go, stop, go process used for multitasking or switching tasks could be compared to wasting fuel while driving. Even if you start out with the tank full of fuel, if you get in a rush and floor the gas pedal, you're going to consume much more energy than is needed to accomplish the same thing that you could do without rushing. Unfortunately, we don't have access to a gauge like the car's RPM gauge to tell us when our brains are wasting fuel. Switch tasking is similar to going from high speed to slamming on your brakes in order to change directions so that you can start a different task. Then floor the pedal again to refocus on the new task, burning an excess of energy again. If you drive your car in this manner for very long, your fuel will not last. You may even run out before you reach your goal, desired destination. Likewise, your brain can start with plenty of fuel or energy. But through the process of switch tasking, you can quickly and wastefully burn through it all. Once you hit empty, it is simply not there for use. Burning too much of the energy needed by the brain not only impedes neural communication, but also affects the maintenance of the cellular integrity in the brain. Single task to conserve energy. So let's look at some warning signs. Some signs that your brain is overworking by multitasking might be lapses in attentiveness, loss of concentration, gaps in short-term memory, communication problems with others, stress symptoms such as shortness of breath, aggressive and impulsive behavior. The repeated switch tasking consumes more energy than we are able to provide sustenance for. It burns out the oxygenated glucose that the brain uses to fuel all of its cellular activities. One mindfully, doing one thing at a time. The essence of mindfulness is acting with undivided attention. One mindfully is the discipline of doing one thing at a time with awareness. When thoughts are racing, concentrating on one thing slows the mind. Doing one thing at a time decreases anxiety by focusing the mind on one thing, pushing from one's mind preoccupations and worries. Mindfulness brings your attention back to the present moment. Here are some tips to be one mindful. Do one thing at a time. This includes your thoughts. Think about the task in hand rather than other things. When you're worrying, worry. Don't let yourself worry when you are trying to do other things one mindfully. If you find yourself distracted, observe, then return to being one mindful. Being one mindful is sustaining your attention in the present moment and will help you to improve your concentration. Be sure to check the video description in the comments below. You'll find a link to the website lesson that accompanies this video. You will also find links to the handouts and worksheets created to complement this video. And while you're there, if you found this video helpful, be sure to like it. Next week in our peer-guided DBT lessons mindfulness module, we'll be looking at How Skills Part 2. And be sure to check out our YouTube channel where our entire DBT course is now available. Thank you for watching and hope to see you next week.